YouTube. Welcome back at Total Wealth, man. And today I wanted to kind of explain what is total wealth, right? Because it's a phrase that I actually developed and I say it so often and so much that I don't even realize I haven't explained it to people, right? And so in this video, we're going to talk about what total wealth is and how you can achieve it. And so with that said, let's get right into it. So, step 1, mental wealth. You cannot do anything when your mindset is not accurately processing information. If you're always confused, you're always negative, slow to make decisions, that are indicators that your mindset is not where it needs to be. And so things that allow us to break through, if you're somebody who's struggling with that mental clarity and you're looking for those things, there's actually some things that you can do to start building this up. The first thing I will recommend is start a workout regimen. Okay. And the reason why I say start a workout regimen is because the flow of your blood, being able to give your body that natural energy, those natural toxins that you need to be happy, right? When we talk about dopamine and oxytocin, serotonin, these are chemicals that your body naturally produces when you work out. And these chemicals are amazing for the positivity that's going on in your brain. Okay. And last but not least, when we talk about mental wealth, it's not just about learning information to know it, because that's just half the battle. The information that you know, you need to practice so you become a master at it. When we think about walking, our parents didn't help us learn how to walk. And then once we learn how to walk, we say, okay, we're only going to stay this good at it. No, we learn how to run. And since you've been 3, you haven't fallen over since, right? And so you've mastered it. We talk about communication and talking, right? As we go on, we learn more words. Our communication gets better. We get better at our talking points. So learning is not about knowing. Learning is about mastery. Okay, so that means you got to take your time, focus on what you're mastering, and just understand there's a capacity level. So we can't know the same amount about everything. This is why you have to choose a field that you're going to go into so you can master that. The next foundation of total wealth is emotional wealth. And when we're talking about emotions, I think people get confused, right? And it's natural because we show up here, right? We're born and nobody gives us a guide on what our emotions mean, right? We have definitions for what happy means and what angry means and things like that. But most people don't ask themselves, why am I feeling this feeling? Right? We just kind of sit in them and say, I'm not feeling good. I'm having a bad day or something is off, right? And so I think it's important to understand how you regulate your emotions. And so I'm going to share that with you right now. And it's a reason why emotional wealth comes after mental, because emotions are reactionary. Emotions normally come after you think a thought. And we tend to think that that emotion is an indicator of future things. And sometimes it is. However, when we do not understand the information or why we're feeling something, we can get confused and run off with why somebody said this thing. And so you we want to be able to articulate how we're feeling and communicate it, but not necessarily react to it. And another trick is, when you think a thought and it gives you a feeling you don't want, practice thinking the opposite of that thought, right? Some people, like for me, when I was younger, there was a thought that used to always scare me. And I used to think, man, when I pass away, is it just going to be black? Am I not going to remember anybody? I used to get so scared that I couldn't even go to sleep. Okay. However, things that I did to kind of get over that mindset, it was, number one, I started thinking about the positive side of what it could be like when I pass away. And the reason why this is so important is because either way, I don't know, but I empower myself when I think positive thoughts. So when I think that there's an afterlife, when I think that I'm going to be connected with my loved ones who've passed on, when I think I'm going to have an opportunity to stand in front of the Creator and speak with Him about how I live my life, those things give me empowerment, right? And that's what emotions is all about. Your emotions are there for you. And I connect mental, and emotional, because the two things that I believe are specifically for you is your thoughts and your emotions. You can actually think thoughts and feel feelings without opening your mouth. All day, you could be walking around thinking thoughts and feeling feelings without saying a word, without communicating it to anybody. That means it's for you. So the next time you get angry, don't go and blast off on people or anything like that. Understand it's signal. And then you should think about, why am I feeling angry? And then when you feel that feeling, try to think the opposite thought that would give you an empowering emotion like happiness, joy, and excitement, and kind of focus on that. Our next pillar, physical wealth. And I have been, oh man, when I tell you physical wealth has pretty much four components in it, right? It's about your diet. What are you putting in your mouth? What are you eating? What are you drinking consistently, right? It's about your activity. So how often are you working out, right? How often are you active? When's the last time you ran as fast as you can run, right? um it's also about rest. So working out is very important, but rest is just as important. That's when your body is repairing. That's when it's creating the new gains that you're going to see in the mirror after you work out all day, right? And give you that new look, that new bulk in your chest, right? And last but not least, you have to track your health. You need to go and have your updates. You need to see your doctor. You need to check your vision. You need to check your hearing. You need to check your dental, because being aware allows you to do something about it. If we are unaware, then we are just victims to the circumstance. And we were not created to be victims. We were created to have dominion, right? And so physical wealth, one of my favorites. Can't do nothing if I can't show up. Fourth pillar. Now this is my wheelhouse. This is financial wealth. And this is when we say the word wealth with no other words involved, this is what people generally think of when they think about wealth, right? And so with financial wealth, I've kind of studied different people in the financial sector, investments, real estate, all different types of things. And I learned that there's really 12 factors when it comes to being financially well off, right? And those 12 factors are budgeting, savings, credit, debt, understanding taxes. Now, that's the foundation. The next four are your growth. Okay. So now we get into investing, entrepreneurship, having a mentor, and being part of a mastermind. Okay. And then the last three, after we've made our wealth, it's about protecting that wealth. And so now we're talking about our insurances, our retirement plan, and our estate plan for when we transition over, making sure we have a plan for everybody to know how we want things done. And so when you have those 12 components mastered and you're able to be confident, somebody asks you, how are you financially? And you know you have all the boxes checked there. I can't explain to you the level of freedom you feel at that moment. The next pillar is actually a combination of the last two financial pillars. So generational wealth. And generational wealth is about leaving things better than you found it. Okay. So what does that mean? That means if you created a blueprint to success, you became wealthy, you made $1 million in a year in a business successfully, right? And so you're a part of that 2 comma club. Now, the onus is on, how do you help other people get there? And how do you leave a blueprint so when you're gone, that business still has legs and can still support all the employees you hire, still help all the clients who signed up for your service because they seen the value in what you were offering, right? And so generational wealth is about having that retirement plan for when you're done working. How are the people in your business going to move forward? Are you going to shut the business down, give everybody a severance pay, give them recommendations so they get hired other places? Are you going to sell the business so another owner can come and run it and allow those people to maintain the lifestyle that they had, right? Because you have some decisions in how you exit your own business. And so I think it's important to think about that. And when we talk about estate planning, you can kind of move retirement planning in there as well, right? If you want your children to take over the family business. But when it comes to estate plans, it's about what is happening with your asset, with your resources when you pass. And so many people do not prepare for this moment, and it leaves your family in terrible condition. Okay, so the best thing to do is I have a threshold. You know, trust have been the rave of 2024, and I am a fan of trust depending on how much assets you have, right? If you don't have over $500,000 in assets, and assets does not have to be liquid cash, it can be properties you own, it could be a business you own. But if you do not have $500,000 of assets, then I recommend just filling out a simple will, right? Talk about what you would want done with your possessions, with your things, date, put your birthday, your social on there, and notify a trusted party on where that's at if something were to happen to you. That's all most people need. And when we think about things like this, I think about Martin Luther King's estate. I think about Elvis's estate. I think about Abraham Lincoln's estate. And when these people passed away, their family lost 40% or more of the wealth that those individuals had accumulated over their lives because they just simply were not prepared. And last but not least is spiritual wealth. Everything begins and ends with spiritual wealth because the spiritual is more real than the physical. Okay. And this is why so many people get caught up in their thoughts, caught up in their emotions, because thoughts and emotions are our gifts from God, from the spiritual. Being able to think, right? Being able to imagine and create, that's godlike. That is spiritual. Sometimes we have ideas nobody has ever told us about, nobody has ever brought up, and that's why we have such reverence for inventors and creators, right? And spiritual wealth is also about staying grounded. It's about finding your purpose in life. Who were you created to serve? How are you going to serve those people? Okay? When I think about King Solomon, and I think about him being the wealthiest man that ever lived, if we according to the Bible, right? And we talk about the beginning of that. Well, what King Solomon did was he prayed to God, and he said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he pretty much said, "Dear God, please give me the wisdom to do the things you put me on the earth to do in a way that pleases you and serve the people you put me here to serve." When you guys break that down and understand that wealth follows service, then getting wealthy is very easy, right? And this is also why this is at the pinnacle, because so many people focus on the results, but you can't focus on the results. You got to focus on the work. What are you doing that's earning your wealth, right? Besides just wanting it, because we are not human wantings. We are not human havings. We are human beings. And with that being stated, you have to have an idea in your mind of who you want to be and how you're going to be that. And so I hope this video explained to you guys what total wealth is when I speak about it. And also I want to know what you think about total wealth when you hear it. So you guys have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video. And don't forget, if you ain't tracking, you ain't trying.